Hey there, this is Red. It's time for an episode of Red Reveals. So today we're going to unbox the Hulk Hero Pack for Marvel Champions. I'm on a subscription from Team Covenant, so as soon as the content comes out, they send it to me, which is great. They also happen to charge me for it. They just don't send it to me for free, which is kind of a downside of that stuff. But, still I'm getting the content right away, which is nice. So we're going to go over the Hulk Hero Pack. The other thing we're going to talk about is Fantasy Flight put out a little print and play of Ronin. So as a bonus, we'll kind of cover what comes in the Ronin print and play. Now, I do have one large problem with the Hulk Hero Pack. That is that I use a green screen to do my card displays here, and that goes right through the green that's in the Hulk. So, I've already opened up the Hulk and tried this a couple of times, and I think I have a solution to this. So here's what we're going to do is I'm going to go through, I'm going to turn off my green screen here. So let's see here. I need to give me just a second to click a couple of boxes. I'm going to go into my filters. I'm going to turn off my chroma key, and the screen just got really green. And now I can take the green screen away, and we've got the Hulk. And you can't see through him anymore. So we're good to go, I think. So let's talk about what's in the Hulk pack. First off, we'll start with Alter Ego. So we've got Bruce Banner here. We're looking at a hand size of 5 and a whopping 18 hit points. Holy cow. All right, recovery of 4 is pretty nice also. So genius and scientist trait. We've got experimental research, draw a card, choose and discard a card. So that's kind of a decent ability. I like that. Let's see, what's the Hulk got? So the Hulk has 0 thwart, 3 attack, and 3 defense. That's a great picture of him ripping apart a robot there. So enraged, force interrupt, when your turn ends, discard your hand. Hulk is not sorry, Hulk is Hulk. All right, hand size 4. Oh, that's pretty rough. All right, so one of the things to note there is it's a thwart 0, so that means that he can still thwart, he just thwarts for 0. So if there is an ability out there that gives him like +1 or a bonus, we would be able to thwart with Hulk. It's not that he can't thwart at all. So that's kind of cool. The hand size of 4 is pretty limiting, but 18 hit points, holy cow. And the 3 attack is nice. So I'm not exactly sure how bad the discard your hand is going to be if you're staying at 4 cards. I don't know that it's all that rough. You're probably going to play what you have anyway and not sit on a whole lot anyway. So, all right, I think what that really means is, well, yeah. So I don't think it's going to be all that big of a deal in practice. All right, so let's look at what we have here. We have Crushing Blow. You can only spend physical resources to pay for this card. And it's a hero action and attack, deal damage to an enemy equal to your attack. Okay, so She-Hulk's got a similar one where you can like ready yourself, but this is just a straight up attack for what you have for attack. For 1 cost, that's not too bad. So let's see here. There's only 1 Crushing Blow in there. No, I've got them mixed up a little bit. There's 2 Crushing Blows. And then we get into Hulk Smash. So I'm kind of disappointed. This is just Hulk Smash, not Hulk Smash with an exclamation point. So 3 with a hand size of 4 is going to be, that's like all your other cards are going to go into Hulk Smash. So Hero Interrupt, Superpower. So it's not an attack. But it's when you make a basic attack, you get +10 attack for that attack. If you paid for this card only using physical resources, this attack gains Overkill. Interesting. All right. So that's a huge boost, but it's not an attack in and of itself. You have to be doing a normal attack, which makes it interesting because I guess if you're stunned, then you can't do an attack to get rid of the stun, then play this card to do 10 damage. Really, you're going to have to not be stunned going into it. So I've got mixed reactions to that. That's pretty cool, but it's a hefty cost, and I would kind of like it to be its own attack, but it's not. But you're doing 10 damage, so there's some severe limitations on that. All right, so we have 2 Hulk Smashes. Then we have a Suborbital Leap. So this is a thwart action. Remove 3 threat from a scheme, 5 threat instead if you paid only using physical resources. Leave Hulk alone. I love the quotes. They're very Hulky quotes. So that's, again, that costs 3. So it's essentially everything you've got in your hand is going to be probably go into your suborbital leap. And you've got 1, 2 of those. So with 0 thwart, that's probably your thwarting card in your deck. All right, then we have Thunderclap, which is another 3-cost event. So choose up to 3 different enemies, deal 3 damage to each one of them. How many of those are there? There are 2 of those. All right, so that's your clear the drones type card. So I like that one. For 3 costs, you're doing potentially 9 damage, and you're getting rid of maybe a lot of toughnesses. That's an okay card. I like that. And it's a physical resource, and I think we're seeing a pattern with a lot of physical resources in the Hulk deck. All right, then we have Unstoppable Force, which is 2, an event card, hero action. Ready Hulk, if you paid for this card using only physical resources, draw a card. All right, so what are we thinking about that one? So it's going to cost 2. So likely you have paid for that with most of the cards you have, unless you've got like a double resource, or maybe you've got some sort of triple resource, and then you get to draw a card. So I don't know that the draw a card is going to do you a whole lot of good, actually. It's really going to depend on what you have on in your deck. Maybe you optimize for that type of thing. So, and then even if you draw a card, you're going to have to discard at the end of your round. So it's not going to set you up with something you might potentially want to hold on to. All right. So there's 2 of those. We have Limitless Strength. So we have 3 physical, and you can only use that in hero form. All right. So interesting. There are a lot of 3-cost cards. So this, in combination with the 3-cost cards, means that you would have 2 other cards potentially to do stuff with. There's 2 of those. And then we have Banner's Laboratory. Bruce Banner gets +2 recovery. Alter Ego Resource. Exhaust Banner's Laboratory and generate a mental resource. So, all right. So that makes it so that as Banner, you can heal for 6, which is pretty nice. Throw a downtime in there, and you're getting a lot of hit points back. Then we have the generate a mental resource, which, let's see here. I haven't seen a lot of equipment or anything. Almost everything's attack. So I'm guessing maybe like if you had allies, that might help get those out there. But there's not really a whole lot for the laboratory to help with of the cards that I've seen so far. So mixed thoughts there. All right, so we've got Boundless Rage. So it's an upgrade. So here's one where that mental resource might help. Hero form only, Hulk gets +1 attack. After you change form, discard this card. Well, okay, so I just negated myself there. So if you were Banner and you had this out and then you were to change to Hulk, I guess you would discard that. So not all that awesome. All right, so actually it's a decent card because you get +1 attack, but if you flip out a Hulk, then it goes away. All right, Immovable Object. You get +4 hit points. Hulk gets Retaliate 1. That's an upgrade. That is an awesome card. I like that. So that's going to push you up to 22 hit points, and you're going to have Retaliate 1. Ooh, that's nice. I like that one. All right, that's my winner so far. I'm happy with that one. All right, Allies. So when I was looking at this hero pack coming out, this was one of my favorite pieces, was the allies that are in here. So we see Brawn, who's 3 cost, 1 thwart and 1 attack, which isn't a lot, but he's got 5 health, and if he attacks, you remove 1 threat from a scheme. So he's awesome utility ally here. And I think in the Hulk deck, that's what we're going to see, is there's going to be a lot of thwarting in allies. So the Sentry, going to cost 4 to bring out, and he's got 2 thwart and 3 attacks, so he's kind of a powerhouse, and 5 hit points. Very nice. So force response, after Sentry enters play under your control, deal yourself 1 encounter card. All right, I can see where that's going to be kind of rough in something like Heroic, where you're barely dealing with what you have coming out already. To throw another card on top of that could be pretty tough. Probably not all that bad in Standard. Expert is going to probably ramp it up a little bit. It's nice that it's only when he comes out. So I do really like him. So 5 hit points and 1 consequential damage for 3 attack. That seems like a really good card to have out there. All right. She-Hulk. This is one of my favorite cards that I've seen so far. So 4 cost, 2 for 2 thwart, 1 for attack star, and she's got 4 hit points. So she's got Avenger and Gamma, and She-Hulk gets +1 attack for each damage token here. So I'm really looking forward to her with some, what is that, Enraged on there, where you get to do damage, get +2 to damage. So she could be looking at, before she goes out, she could have 3 damage on her. So she's doing 4, gets another +2, she's doing 6. And get things like Honor Avenger on there and a bunch of other stuff, and she could be a powerhouse. So I'm really looking forward to playing this card. All right, we've got Dropkick for 3 for an event, and it's an attack event. So hero action attack, deal 4 damage to an enemy if you paid for this card using a physical resource, stun the enemy, and draw a card. So I think getting the card back plus a stun makes this really nice for a 3 cost. Right? You've got Uppercuts 3 cost, but if you can, and this is, I guess you're seeing a lot of physical resource in this deck. If you can line up the physical resources in what you're playing, even if you're playing a aggression deck that's mostly physical resources that has the Hulk ally in it, this could be a really good card. So I like Dropkick at a cost of 3. So being able to get a stun and being able to draw a card is very good. All right, so it'd probably be the first thing you want to pull off before you do your attack, because you don't know what that one other card is going to do. All right, Toe to Toe. We've got an event for 1 cost. Hero action attack. Choose an enemy. That enemy attacks you and deal 5 damage to that enemy. Oh, I think, like Spider-Man might like that one, right? Because you can get even more cards. So I like Toe to Toe. That's going to be useful in a lot of decks. I don't know how useful that's going to be in the Hulk deck. Maybe with like your Retaliate out there, it could be pretty good. I'm not sure right off the bat in the build that I'm seeing. I don't know how much that I like it. All right. You'll pay for that, which is a cost of 1. Hero response thwart. After the villain attacks you, remove 1 threat from a scheme for each damage you took from that attack to a maximum of 5. That's going to be a nice addition to aggression decks, I think, where your ability to thwart is fairly limited, unless you're depending upon allies to do a lot of that thwarting, and this would let you do a lot of that thwarting just out of your hand. So that's good. There's 3 of those. All right, Power of Aggression, pretty standard. We got a couple of those. What's this? Martial Prowess. So it's an upgrade for 2. Play under any player's control, max 1 per player. Exhaust Martial Prowess, generate a physical resource for an attack event. Okay, that seems, well, there's 3 of them in here. That seems like an awful lot. So you can only have 1 per player, and you're exhausted on a physical attack event. And a lot of the stuff that I thought I saw was not necessarily attacks. So got mixed feelings about that one, and I think 3 of them is an awful lot to have in any deck. So this might be good for, it's probably the default build that's coming out and making sure that you have enough to play in other decks, but I don't think I would ever play that many in any one given deck. So I think your base Hulk deck is going to be a bit weird with 3 of those in there, but maybe that'll work. All right, to the rescue. We have a hero action, remove 2 threat first from a scheme. So a cost of 2 and remove 2 threat. So I like that. I think that's nice. You're going to play it during your turn. So I think that's a good card. That's going to be a good threat mitigator, which there's not a whole lot of those out there like that. So I'm very happy that that's a basic card also. So cool. We've got, oh wait, an energy, a genius, and a strength. Who would have guessed those 3 cards would be in there? Oh, and an Avengers Mansion, of course, and a Helicarrier. And your Avenger Mansion. So the Avenger Mansion is going to be pretty expensive in this deck. The Helicarrier is probably going to be necessary because you don't have a whole lot of cards. So I don't know about that Avengers Mansion. The Helicarrier, you're going to need it. All right, Enter Demons. So the Doctor Strange obligation was a little bit different. Let's see what this obligation looks like. We have give to the Bruce Banner player, change form, flip your identity. That's not a you can, that's saying that you will. So it's going to happen. Then, so that's even, I guess, if you're Bruce Banner, you're going to flip to Hulk. So then if you're Bruce Banner, discard 2 cards from your hand, discard this obligation. And then if you're Hulk, exhaust your hero, discard this obligation. Oh, so like almost all the other ones, you can do the thing and make it go away. You have no ability to permanently kick this obligation out. And it's got 3 boost icons on it too. So that's pretty rough. They must be thinking Hulk's pretty tough in order to add an obligation like that in there. We'll see how he plays. All right. So here we get into our nemesis. The Hulk nemesis is the Abomination. And he's got 2 scheme and 3 attack with a little star by it. And it says, forced response. After Abomination attacks you, discard the top card of your deck. If a physical resource was discarded this way, take 2 damage. Okay, so I think so most of your Hulk stuff is going to do an additional 2 damage. He's got 6 health, so that's a pretty good amount of health there. So he might be, that's only a couple of punches from Hulk. So I don't think it'll be too tough for Hulk to get him out of there, but he's definitely going to be annoying. He's going to deal you some damage first. The 2 scheme, I think, is very problematic too. All right, what do we have as his side scheme? Oh, total destruction. Threat cannot be removed from this scheme. Oh, okay, so that's annoying. So it's only going to have 2 threat on it, but it's going to give you an additional encounter card, and you can't get rid of it until the Abomination is out of there. Oof. All right. Clash of the Titans. When revealed, the enemy with the highest attack attacks the hero or ally with the highest attack. If no attack was made, this card gains Surge. All right, so that's probably going to be your Hulk and whoever your enemy is. And we're looking at Ronan, so it might end up being Ronan. So there's 3 of those. So there's some big blows going on there. All right, so we're past. So that was my Hulk deck, right? And I'll probably be taking my Hulk deck out for a spin here in a little bit. We'll do another video on that. And there is our what's in the Hulk deck. So what do I not like in there? So the 3 times martial prowess seems kind of weird in that deck. What else do we have? I don't know. I don't know that a lot of it I would necessarily change out. So we'll have to see how the Hulk deck plays, but it's kind of an interesting setup. I think I might take the Avengers Mansion out of there too. And maybe the To the Rescues. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how it plays. So there we go. There's our Hulk deck. We'll be seeing that pretty soon. All right. So here's our additional cards that come with this pack. We've got the Beat Cop, which is a persona. So action, exhaust, Beat Cop. Move 1 threat from a scheme here. Action, exhaust, and discard Beat Cop. Deal 1 damage to a minion for each threat here. So how many? So that's a Justice card, and there's 3 of those, and they cost 3. And they're not unique, which is interesting. So you could get all 3 of them out there and potentially taking 3 threat off of schemes every round. So that is kind of attractive. I don't know so much about the damage to a minion. It would be nice, but not necessarily necessary. The other thing is the actions aren't hero actions, right? So you could be sitting in, if you had a She-Hulk Justice deck, you're looking at preventing 1 threat from coming out, and then you're looking at taking 3 off of something. So yeah, the Beat Cop's looking pretty nice in a Justice deck. I think that will be pretty cool. I like that card. All right, Inspiring Presence. Now, I don't play a whole lot of leadership, but we've got play only if your identity has the Avenger trait. Well, we've got Thor on the front of that, so that kind of makes sense. And most of the cards out there are Avengers, so let's see. Hero action, heal 1 damage from an ally and ready it. Okay, I like that. That goes right into that whole leadership thing. And it only cost 1, so that's not too bad. Mental resource, though. So are you going to play it in the Thor deck because you want your lightning bolts? I don't know. We'll have to see. All right. Electrostatic armor. So I would say that Leadership and protection are the two aspects I dislike the most, and I prefer justice and aggression. Now, that said, this electrostatic armor, I have played the Iron Man Technova deck, so adding in another tech upgrade, well, you can only have one, so I'd probably only put one in the deck, but it's also, if you defend, you're also essentially getting a damage back to whoever it is you're hitting. So, in a Protection Black Widow deck, in that Iron Man Technova deck, a Black Panther protection deck, this could be a card that would probably be included in any of those decks, like almost mandatory. So I do kind of like that card. And it's energy for the Tech Nova deck there too, to help power Nova. So I think that's probably going in the Iron Man Tech Nova deck. All right. And the last one we've got is Resourceful, which is a 1-cost upgrade. Discard Resourceful, generate a wild resource. So what do we think about that one? So that one's interesting in that it could be used to pay for in things like maybe Thor or even this Hulk deck. You can, where you're using something and having cards left over, this could potentially be one of those 2 cards where you use your big Hulk 3 thing to pay for another 3 thing. Then you've got 2 cards left over. You could get Resourceful out to sit out there, or potentially hang out for another round to be able to play a resource. So I like that. I can see where it would get played. I don't know that it's a massive game changer card. So it'd have to be in a special thing, I think, in order to play that. All right. So last thing we're going to jump over to our Ronin card. So this was a little print and play thing that came out. So we've got a Kree Fanatic is the name of that set, and it's giving you a big bad to play against. So the first thing that's a major difference that you'll notice here is 9 per player. So for me, I do a lot of solo playing, so the 9's not going to be a big deal, but 2 players, 3 players, he's going to be just like another villain out there. 3 scheme, 3 attack. He's got toughness. He can't be stunned, so let's just heap all the badness on there. So Forced Interrupt. When the villain phase begins, Ronin engages the hero with the fewest remaining hit points. Okay, so he's going to bop around on the board. Again, I do a lot of solo play, so that's not going to matter for me, but it looks like he's going to pick off the weaklings, which is pretty mean with that 3 attack. And his boost card, and as a boost card, he comes into play. So it's not like you can just skip past him and be like, phew, all right, he didn't do anything. He's going to automatically come out. So that is a rough card. That's like a step it up to the next level card, which is, I think, what they were going for. So here we have Judge, Jury, Executioner. So forced response after a friendly character is defeated by an enemy. Place 2 threat on the main scheme, and then boost, put it into play. And so we've got an acceleration token, and it's got 3 per player on there. So you think you've got a little, what is that, your Mockingbird that you're ready, that everybody calls Blockingbird. I don't know that you're going to be wanting to do that a whole lot, like you shift out Maria Hill a lot of those leadership decks that just like to eat your allies alive, people throw them in front of everything, this is going to really throw that off. So Team Covenant does a neat webcast. I would kind of like to see that. They've got a double leadership deck that they've played. I think that would totally destroy that. Like, let's get to throw that all off. All right, so we have the accused. I was going to say accursed, but it's accused. So it's an attachment attached to your identity. Forced Interrupt. When an enemy initiates attack, the attached identity, that enemy gets +1 for that attack. After Ronin, the accursor is defeated, discard this card. So let's see how that, so attached to your identity. So when somebody attacks, they're going to get +1 attack. So something like an Ultron, all of the drones that would attack you are going to get +1 attack. Ouch. And there's not really any way to get rid of it other than defeating Ronin. Yuck. So yeah, that's pretty rough. We've got a theme going where they're all kind of rough. Bring the hammer down. So there's, and I'm looking at the 3 boost icons right there. Yikes. When revealed, Ronin activates against the player he is engaged with. If Ronin is not in play, this card gains Surge. So, oh, he's going to come give you the beatdown. Great. If this activation defeats a character, deal the first player 1 face down encounter card. All right, so again, if you throw a minion in front of it, like you tend to do in those leadership decks, he's going to give you another encounter card. So I've got a feeling this is the anti-leadership side scheme going on here. So we've got 1, 2 of the Bring the Hammer Downs, and we have 2 You Dare Oppose Me. So what do we have here? When revealed, discard the top 5 cards of the encounter deck. Each time a card belonging to the Kree Fanatic set is discarded this way, deal the card to yourself as a face-down encounter card. Boost, if this activation is an attack, that attack gains overkill. So again, it's messing with the, hey, I'm just going to throw my blocking bird out there. Actually, we're going to turn that into overkill, and most of the damage is going to come to you. And then other than that, it's let's get more of these cards out there to mess with you. So, ouch. So I think this is the anti-leadership deck. So this is the, hey, you want to stack up on minions and sit behind them and think you can just roll that way? Not going to happen with Ronin. So that's a lot of fun. So I think he's going to be tough. He'll be especially tough against certain decks that are out there that depend heavily on minions. I don't know about other decks still. He's going to be pretty tough against other stuff with that 9 health and 3 attack and 3 scheme. So he's going to really mess you up if you got lots of minions. He's going to mess you up pretty bad anyway. So and I like that he's the Accuser Corpse also. So that's very interesting. All right. So let's talk about, that looks fun. I will probably be playing with Ronin in the near future here. And then thoughts on the Hulk. So I have mixed feelings on the Hulk. I think the deck that the Hulk comes with is not going to be all that grand. It's probably going to be playable, but not fantastic. I think part of that is the aspect that when they put out a deck like that, a lot of times they're giving you 3 cards because you need to have 3 copies of it, and because it's in his deck, they want you to have 3 copies of each implementation of the card, and because it's in that hero's deck, they're putting all 3 copies in that starter deck. So I definitely wouldn't play with 3 copies of some of those cards in there. But that said, I think he will be fun to play. It looks like there's a lot of cards that are very dependent upon his form, and then there's a lot of physical resource in there, and I'm not sure how that's going to play out as far as the things that require it and things that give it, whether they will actually give it at the right time. Also, I don't know how useful Banner's ability to give a mental resource is going to be. I mean, I'm sorry, his what's the card? His lab or whatever. Banners. I'm going back after it. I think it was the last card of the Hulk cards. There we go. Banner's Laboratory. So the plus 2 recovery is going to be really nice, but I don't know how useful that generate a mental resource is going to be, because it doesn't seem like there's a ton of banner things that you're going to do. When you get into crafting your own deck, I think that might be a lot more interesting, but in the default deck, I don't know how great that's going to be. So we'll find out, because I'm going to play here pretty soon. We'll be doing some Hulk. I think we'll be doing Hulk, Rhino, Ronin. So Hulk R&R, I think, is what we're going to be playing against. So, all right. So there's our unboxing of the Hulk deck. And we're going to be doing some Hulk Smash here pretty soon. What do I think of him rating? I'm going to put him at a middle tier right now. I don't think he is Doctor Strange level. I don't think... So there's been a lot of talk about Thor and where Thor sits at in the power scheme right now. So Thor out of the box, I was not very happy with at all. I've got a feeling that Hulk's going to be kind of like that this Hulk deck out of the box, I'm not going to be very happy with. I do think with some tweaking, he might be pretty good, but we'll play him out of the box and see how he does. So I guess let me know what you think about Hulk. If you've played him some, what are you thinking? Does he stack up really differently against Rhino versus somebody like Ultron? Let me know what your thoughts are. Are there some of the cards out there you think are the bomb that I think are kind of meh? Are you going to put 3 drop kicks in all of your aggression decks out there now that you see them? I don't know. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and thanks for watching.